Well, good morning, everybody. This is Texas Hill Country CSL, and we're coming to you virtually from the comfort of our homes. And I'm Reverend Beth, and I will be giving you the lesson today. And this month we are using Ernest Holmes' book, The Living the Science of Mind, to provide us with a clear and direct roadmap for a way of being in peace, fulfillment, happiness, and consciously connected to the life force that is our life. Now, these writings don't promise that we will never experience hills and valleys in our human experience, but the wisdom offered in this book and in the other writings of Ernest Holmes, which make up our faith, philosophy, and way of life as the science of mind, gives us a clear and direct way to approach them. And our time today has been inspired by the chapter entitled How to Build Your Tomorrow Today. And that starts on page 190 if anybody wants to follow up on it. But in that, Holmes offers some beautiful words of wisdom, which we will bring alive this morning as we discuss the point he drives home in this chapter. But in Living Science of Mind, Holmes writes, one of the outstanding things that Jesus taught was that the mistakes of yesterday can be canceled, that no matter what the experiences of yesterday may have been, they can be changed. Jesus did not seem to think that this change required months and years of strenuous effort. He knew that God wishes only good for everyone. He knew that we are all rooted in pure spirit, in perfect life, and that at any moment we can so unify ourselves with the power of good that evil will disappear from our experience. You might ask, what is evil? Well, in the Science of Mind textbook that says here, it's that evil is that which seems destructive of itself. It is neither person, place, nor thing, and will disappear in the exact proportion that we cease using destructive methods. So that last sentence of our opening quote could read, Jesus knew that we are all rooted in pure spirit, in perfect life, and that at any moment we can so unify ourselves with the power of good that anything that seems destructive will disappear from our experience. And Holmes makes this point over and over and over again in this chapter of Living the Science of Mind, that no matter what our history has been, we can change our tomorrow. No matter what our history has been, we can change our tomorrow. But what is the link between yesterday and tomorrow? What has to happen if we are not just going to repeat our history again and again and again? Spiritual teacher Mary Morrissey often says that some people live 90 years, but most people live 1 year 90 times. So what is the link here? What has to happen if we are not just going to repeat our history again and again and again? Yes, we must make a change, or perhaps 2 or 3 or even 4 changes today. And Holmes writes in the text, in the Living the Science of Mind, since today is the only day in which we live, and yesterday has forever passed, the change that we need to make within ourselves must be made today. We cannot go back over the past and relive it. We cannot make adjustments in the past. We have to make them in the present. It is not going to do us any good to sit around and cry over the past and bemoan our fate, because in the very day in which we are living, we are creating our tomorrow, which will become monotonous repetition of our yesterdays. So today is the time in which you should cut loose from the threads of previous experiences, wherever they were negative, and deliberately make up our minds that we shall no longer create our future out of the old past. If we have had antagonists and resentments in the past, today is the only day in which we can change them. And today, we must make changes in our consciousness. And for those new today, we define our consciousness as the totality of our beingness that we bring to the table of our lives. And we said that the totality of our beingness that we bring to the table of our lives made up of 8 components: thoughts, feelings, beliefs, attitudes, values, words, actions, and we added reactions. In order to create a new, beautiful, peaceful, happy, fulfillment, connected tomorrow, regardless of what yesterday looked like, we must bring a new consciousness to today. And that new consciousness is the one that says, I live each day knowing it is complete and perfect within itself. That new consciousness says, I know that all the joy there is in the universe is mine now. In that new consciousness, I make every day a day of praise and thanksgiving, a day in which I recognize the divine bounty and eternal goodness are mine now. And in that new consciousness, I live today as though God were the only presence and the only power there is. And I'm wondering, as you heard that, this is you don't have to answer this question, in other words. If any of you added yes, but, when I was reading that. That one word, by the way, yes, but. Do you know what a yes, but is? A yes, but looks like this. When I suggested that the new consciousness is one that says, I live this day knowing it is complete and perfect within itself, and you said in your mind, yes, but. Today really isn't so complete and perfect because I had a fight with my partner on the way to church, or because I couldn't find my keys and got really mad, and because I don't have enough, well, you fill in the blank. When I said that the new consciousness lives as though all the joy there is in the universe is yours right now, in your mind, you said, yes, but that's not quite true for me right now. I'm not very joyful. In fact, I'm really sad and depressed. And when I suggested that you make every day a day of praise and thanksgiving, a day in which you recognize the divine bounty and the eternal goodness, you said, yes, but I have too many bills right now to be grateful. I don't really feel that divine bounty and goodness are mine. And when I said that we ought to live today as though God were the only presence and only power there is, if you said, yes, but this problem facing me sure seems like a big presence and power in my life, then, my friends, you have a serious case of the yes buts. And you might be one of those people who lives that 1 year, 90 different times around the sun and no things and no changes in tomorrow whatsoever. There are lots of reasons why we can have our big yes buts in the way. And one of the biggest ones is because we have not replaced or released or forgiven ourselves and perhaps others for things of the past. Holmes writes in The Living the Science of Mind this: we are all human and we all have made mistakes. And the starting point for creating a better future for ourselves is to deliberately free our minds from the mistakes of yesterday and feel that they need no longer be held against us. They need no longer be a liability. Too often our minds are so burdened because of the mistakes we have made that we do not take time to forgive ourselves and others and start over again. And so it is wise to occasionally review the past and try to find out just what we have been thinking and doing to create this burden in our minds. Holmes tells us that we must arrive at some practical way, some definite and concrete method, and deliberately use the law of good just as we would any other law in nature. And he says that back of this simple method, we should know that all of the power of the universe conspires to help us. We should feel that we live in an eternal presence of pure spirit, whose whole purpose is good, whose whole desire is constructive, and whose whole feeling toward us is one of love and compassion. And I arrived at such a method for us this morning. Before we experience this practical, definite, and concrete method, which I am knowing is also a deep and profound method, I want to share a story with you. And as I'm sharing it, ask yourself, what in the heck is it to do with what we're talking about this morning? The cheerful little girl with bouncy golden curls was almost 5. She was waiting with her mother at the checkout stand, and she saw them, a circle of glistening white pearls in a pink foil box. Oh, mommy, mommy, please, can I have them? Please, mommy, please, the little girl pleaded. Quickly, the mother checked the back of the little foil box and then looked back into the pleading blue eyes of her little girl's upturned face. $1.95. That's almost $2. If you really want them, I think of some extra chores for you, and in no time, you'll have saved enough money to buy these pearls for yourself. Your birthday's only a week away, and you might get another crisp dollar bill from Grandma. So as soon as Jenny got home, she emptied her penny bank and counted out 17 pennies. After dinner, she did more than her share of chores and earned a few cents more. And the next day, she went to the neighbor and asked if she could pick dandelions for 10 cents. And sure enough, on her birthday, Grandma gave her another new dollar bill. And at last, she had enough money to buy the pearl necklace. Jenny loved her pearls. They made her feel dressed up and grown up, and Jenny wore them everywhere, Sunday school, kindergarten, even to bed. The only time she took them off was when she went swimming or had a bubble bath. And Mother said if they got wet, they might turn her neck green. So Jenny had a very loving daddy, and every night when she was ready to go to bed, he would stop whatever he was doing and come upstairs and read her a story. So one night, as he finished the story, he asked Jenny, "Do you know that I love you? And I do. And do you trust me?" "Oh, yes, Daddy," she said. "I know that you love me, and yes, I trust you." "Then give me your pearls," the daddy said. "Oh, Daddy, not my pearls. You can have Princess, the white horse from my collection, the one with the pink tail. And remember, Daddy, the one you gave me, she's my very favorite. You can have her. You can have anything, but please not my pearls." "That's okay, honey. Daddy loves you. Good night." And he brushed her cheek with a kiss. About a week later, after the story time, Jenny's daddy asked again, "Do you know that I love you?" And Daddy, "Yes, I know that you love me," Jenny said. "And do you trust me?" Daddy asked. Again, Jenny's answer was yes. "Then give me your pearls," he said. "Oh, Daddy, not my pearls, but you can have my baby doll, the brand new one I got for my birthday. She is beautiful, and you can have the yellow blanket that matches her sleeper." "That's okay. Sleep well. God bless you, little one. Daddy loves you." And as always, he brushed her cheek with a gentle kiss. A few nights later, when her daddy came in, Jenny was sitting on her bed with her legs crossed. And as he came close, he noticed her chin was trembling and one silent tear was rolling down her cheek. "What is it, Jenny? What's the matter?" Jenny didn't say anything, but lifted her little hand up to her daddy. And when she opened it, there was her little pearl necklace. With a little quiver, she finally said, "Here, Daddy, this is for you." With tears gathering in his own eyes, Jenny's daddy reached out with one hand to take the dime store necklace, and with the other hand, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a blue velvet case with a strand of genuine pearls and gave them to Jenny. He had them all the time. He was just waiting for her to give up the dime store stuff so he could give her the genuine treasure. So what does this story have to do with you today? It's not a story about sacrifice. I hope you see that. It's a story that illustrates the fact that our greater experience cannot live in the same space as our lesser ideas. Our lesser ideas must go, must be released so that the greater experience can come in. It is waiting for us, ready to be delivered as soon as the lesser idea gets out of the way. And this morning, I want us to rid ourselves of lesser ideas about ourselves, about our past, our regrets, any guilt, anything about which we have not forgiven ourselves or others, so that we can build a greater tomorrow today. In a moment, I'm going to be quiet and let you do a couple of things. First, in prayerful contemplation, as Ernest said, review the past and try to find out just what you have been thinking and doing to create this burden in your minds. In a moment, you will take a bit of time to do that here. Review what might be burdening your mind. What might be preventing you from building a new, peaceful, fulfilled, happy, connected tomorrow? And if you have a piece of paper handy, you might want to write down those ideas or things that are preventing you from having a peaceful, fulfilled, happy, connected tomorrow. And after you've completed the writing on the paper, you can place it face down on a surface near you. And as you do that, I would like for you to recite this affirmation. All the power of the universe conspires to support me in releasing the past and building a beautiful tomorrow today. All the power of the universe conspires to support me in releasing the past and building a beautiful tomorrow today. Ernest Holmes wrote this: never limit your view of life by any past experience. The possibility of life is inherent within the capacity to imagine what life is, backed by the power to produce this imagery or divine imagination. You know, it's so easy to bring the past into each moment. So filling it with the past that there is little room for inspiration, for the creativity that is pushing to be birthed in this now moment. And I invite you to join me in letting go. I know there is only one, the highest God, that is the innermost God. The core of each human being is that one, the original creative genius of the universe. Each expression of the divine is both an inlet and an outlet of the one. Each made of God stuff is the vocalization of eternity in the here and now. Consciously or unconsciously, each is directing the flow of universal mind. I know that I and the one and all of its individuals are inseparable. It is from this consciousness that I know and declare on behalf of myself and all others. In this bright new moment of inspiration, I release any and all clinging to the past thoughts of that no longer serve me. I am free of all limiting beliefs about myself and others, and I embrace the divine creative genius that is imbued in me. I set it free to fully express as me, to have its way with me. I stay awake and alert as an inlet to the one mind. I fling open to being an outlet of spirit. Divine creativity explodes as me. I am boundless expression of divine energy as peace, as love, as compassion, as beauty, and so much more. Gratitude wells up in me as me. It spills over and uplifts all that it touches as it ripples out from me, touching and transforming the lives of countless expressions of the divine. I am greatly beyond words. I release my word, knowing it is already known in the mind of God, and it is fulfilled. And we anchor it together by saying, and so it is. And so it is.